Sorry, I get nervous, really nervous with public speaking, unfortunately, but I'll try to do my best. So my name is Fode. I was born in Senegal in West Africa, and I migrated to the United States in '94 to go to college, actually in Kansas, somewhere in Kansas. But before that, there was like a long, long kind of story just to get there, even for me to be here today, giving this speech, basically. So my dad was a math teacher in my high school. My mom never had a job, so she like was a homemaker and raised us, me and my brother. So my whole life, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era. So I wanted to like go to the land of Michael Jordan. That was like my only purpose in life is to go where this guy, this black dude that looks like me is kicking ass. I want to go to wherever he's at and just do what he's doing, right? So I played ball a little bit from when I was 15 to about 18. My dad saved a lot of money, everything that he had pretty much to help me get to the States. But unfortunately, actually in '94, our local money got devaluated. So Senegal is a French colony, which means that actually our money is printed and made in south of France. I don't know if you can imagine that. It's almost like if China came to America and decided to pretty much take over control of like making and printing dollar bills, basically, right? So what it was is like during the Second World War, when France was under occupation by Germany, when the Germans came, they took away the French money actually, and they gave them their own money. They gave them specially denominated Deutschmarks to use in France. So allegedly, after the war ended, like France realized that they can do the same thing to African countries. So before they pulled out of occupation or like colonialism, whatever, they decided to pretty much like make this money for these African countries, which they pretty much control and print and manage and do all these things. So in '94, somehow, one morning, we got up and they said, okay, now your money is worth 50% of what it was worth before. So all the money my dad saved to get me to college, all of a sudden is worth 50%. So I go to the US Embassy, and of course they tell me you don't have enough money to basically go to United States, right? I was heartbroken. I pretty much cried the whole week. But for some reason, the guy told me, say, hey, your father said that he has a math book. Maybe you should come back and maybe we can talk about actually maybe the royalty of that book and whatever else, right? So I went back to the embassy and I showed him this thing. And he asked me, I didn't even speak English. He said, what do you want to do in the United States? I said, I want to study computer science and play basketball like Michael Jordan. right? But he said, your dad doesn't have enough money. I said, yes, he does. He has this math book that he wrote, co-authors with 3 other people. He has money. So technically, I have bonds which represent future earnings of my dad's book. So if you just allow me to go to the United States, and I'll promise you that I'll do my best to basically study computer science and play basketball. He looked at me for a second. He said, go ahead. Just like that, actually, right? So a few weeks later, I'm on my way to Kansas in America. So as I get there, I realized that my whole dreams pretty much got shattered because the guy at the embassy actually was right. I didn't have enough money, right? So the money that my dad gave me was supposed to last me for about a couple of years. It pretty much ended in the first year itself, right? And forced me to pretty much drop out of college. And I'll come back to this actually why this is so important, because I still go back to the money being devaluated where I was from, which actually hindered me to pretty much finish my college education, right? My second broken dream was basketball. I got to the United States and I realized that I was just having fantasies about being Michael Jordan, but it wasn't going to be that easy because every single kid that I met was pretty much like had their eyes on the NBA and they've been playing basketball since they were like 2 years old. I started maybe a little too late. So I called my dad and I said, okay, maybe I'll leave it alone and focus on computer science, which actually ultimately I did. So fast forward a few years later. So now in 2010 or so, I discovered Bitcoin. Because in 2008, if you guys remember, there was the financial crisis. And for the first time, actually, I started watching CNBC, which I never really watched before, and like reading like money books and financial systems and all these things. And everything brought me back to 1994. And I was like, wait a minute, this actually Bitcoin thing might actually work. So I read the white paper, and the first thing that I thought about actually was Africa, as a matter of fact. I never thought about like really getting Bitcoin to make money, to gain profit and all these things, whatever, because I thought about like where I'm from. And I said, okay, obviously we don't own our own money, right? We have another foreign sovereign entity coming to control the money from our people itself. So how do we get around from this? And ultimately, what I saw is a piece of open source software that's pretty much like permissionless. Anybody can use, it's open, and you can build on top of it to basically build the financial solutions, right? And I said, well, maybe it's kind of weird actually. Is it really gonna work? So it took me about 2-3 years or so, from 2010, 2011 until about 2015, when I really actually finally believed in myself and actually believed that this particular technology can help 15 of these African countries get away from the French people. And I said it earlier, actually, I don't have nothing against French people, right? I got many, many, many French friends or whatnot. But my problem actually is with the French government that's perpetuating these, exploitation of these African countries. Because to me, it's like everything that the kids, the youth, the sovereign people of these nations are working for is going to this entity out in France, as a matter of fact, right? So how do we stop this? Like, to me, actually, that's the question. What we can do, one, is pretty much like get France to basically stop printing the money for these countries. But now who's going to do it? Can we actually trust our leaders in Africa to not go to the printing machine and actually make more of this money, right? So what is the other option? The other option that we have is this permissionless global monetary system that anybody in the world can use. We don't have to trust no president, no ministers, nobody to basically make the money for us or actually allow us to build a better future. That's something different from what these freaking French fucks have been doing. And excuse my language, right? But that's a reality. Right? So imagine in 94, I go to the States. Here we are, 2021, almost 25, whatever years later, right? We are here and we're talking about the same problem. So obviously there's a problem. It breaks my heart whenever I go from the United States to Africa and back, because I always feel like I'm living in two parallel worlds. And that's not right. I'm over here, jumping into Ubers, grabbing lattes, chilling, like life is good, right? I go back home and it's like dire poverty, right? Every time somebody actually say the word Africa, people feel sorry for you or something. I don't want that feeling. I'm a smart and able person, and there's millions of other like smart, able people in Africa as well, right? So at some point you're like, okay, well, what is the actual root of the problem itself? And I don't want to make it racial or anything like that, right? But to me, it's like Black people all over the world suffer from the same plight. I almost feel like we don't have respect because we never actually had access to finances and to resources, right? No matter where I went, I always like experienced like racism or some kind of crap like that before. But I don't want to make it about racism because ultimately what it is like we have a group of people that are like very disadvantaged. You go to Europe, you go to Asia, you go to Saudi Arabia somewhere, you go to somewhere in America as well. It's the same thing, right? So how do we do to basically allow for this group of people to finally actually have financial freedom? And this is where I see personally Bitcoin as a tool to help this group of people, particular group of people, actually gain financial freedom from whatever actually oppressor it is, right? So ultimately, what I want to leave you with is this, is that like Bitcoin is a tool to fight oppression. And I keep saying this, right? Because if we focus and say, okay, well, there's an obvious problem. We don't want these people to rule our people. We want a better opportunity for the kids that are like maybe 15 years old, 10 years old, growing up, to have a better future compared to actually what France basically gave them. Now, we don't want their money, they can keep it. They don't have to print it, whatever else it is, right? But we can use this tool again that's open source and permissionless to build a better future for ourselves. And that's why personally I'm excited about Bitcoin, and that's why I dedicate myself to it 100% of my time. And ultimately, like, to me, excuse me, I get emotional talking about this thing. This is crazy, man, because We have to do better. The world is messed up. Like Morpheus basically told Neo in the Matrix, right? You know something is wrong. You just cannot quite figure actually exactly what it is. But something is obviously wrong when a country prints the money for other people. Like a sovereign nation, right? You know what I mean? So ultimately, I believe that we can use this beautiful, beautiful technology to basically change the world. And that's what I dedicate myself to. Thank you.